Good morning, students. Today we are going to read about the chapter Who Did Patrick's Homework, written by Carol Moore. Carol Moore, the writer, she is a political activist, speaker, and a good writer. Before reading the chapter, we have got some questions in front of us. Do you like homework? Do you do it yourself? Or do you get help? What homework do you usually have? So there are some students who do not like their homework or who do not like doing their homework by themselves. They want their homework to be done by others. We have got a student named Patrick. He is such a student. Patrick never did homework. He did not like to do homework. Why? Too boring, he said, because doing homework was really boring for him. Boring and interesting. He played hockey and basketball and Nintendo itself. So, what his interest was in? His interest was in playing only. He would play hockey, basketball, and Nintendo instead of doing homework. He liked playing outdoor games like hockey and basketball, or indoor game like Nintendo. And Nintendo here mentioned is a video game. His teachers told him, they always suggested him, they advised him not to do that thing. Patrick, do your homework or you won't learn a thing. This is the suggestion of their teachers. The teacher always would tell him that he should do his homework, otherwise he would not learn anything. Because this is a common phenomena that if you are not going to do your homework by yourself, you will not learn the homework. You will not learn the thing that we want you to learn. And it's true. It is also true. Sometimes he did feel like an ignoramus. Ignoramus, one who does not know something, who lacks education. But what could he do? He could not do anything. Why? Because he did not like homework. He hated homework. Then one day he found his cat playing with a little doll and he grabbed it away. Grabbed? He caught. He caught that thing. So, one day what happened? He found his cat, and the cat was playing with a little doll, or something like a doll. The cat was playing with an object that looked like a doll, and he, Patrick, grabbed, Patrick caught, Patrick caught that thing away. To his surprise, Patrick got surprised when he caught the doll. It wasn't a doll, and he saw that the thing was not a doll at all, but a man of the tiniest size. Tiniest, most tiny, or smallest. So, what it was that Patrick's cat was playing with? It was a man. It was a man of tiniest size that the cat was playing. And Patrick took hold of that thing. He had a little wool shirt. The man that Patrick caught, he had means he was wearing a little wool shirt with old fashioned breeches and a high tall hat, much like a witch's. So look at the rhyme that the writer has used. Okay, the writer is rhyming breeches with witches. The little man was wearing a little wool shirt. He was wearing old fashioned breeches, short trousers, okay, and a high tall hat. And that hat was like the hats worn by witches, and which everyone knows, an evil woman having magical power, wearing pointed hat and riding a broomstick. So that is witches. So he was wearing the hat that was, or such type of hats were worn by witches only. He yelled. The little creature. The little creature yelled. Yell means shouted, cried. So he yelled, "Save me! Don't give me back to that cat. I will grant you a wish." Grant means to agree, to give. I will give you a wish. I promise you that. So who said these words? These words said by the tiny creature. And why? Because the cat was teasing the tiny creature. The tiny creature was afraid of that cat. And when Patrick saved that thing or that man from cat, he was really afraid with the cat. And he said to Patrick that he will give him a wish. Whatever he would wish, he would fulfill that wish of Patrick. And he promised, the tiny creature promised that wish to Patrick. Patrick couldn't believe how lucky he was. He did not believe that he was really lucky. Here was the answer to all his problems. Because now, as that magical creature was going to fulfill one of his wishes, so it was good for him, it was lucky for him, and this was the solution of all of his problems. And we know what was doing problem to him. So the problem for Patrick was just homework. So he said, only if, only if means Patrick is was putting a condition in front of the man, and the condition was, you do all my homework till the end of the semester, and that semester was up to 35 days. So what Patrick asked that man to do, the man was asked to do Patrick's homework for 35 days, that is for that semester. If you do a good enough job, I could even get A's. So enough means sufficient. So what Patrick said that if he did him a good job, sufficient job, then Patrick would get a good grade, or A grade Patrick was going to have, or as Patrick would think it. Patrick thought that if his homework is completed by someone, he would get good marks. The little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. He kicked his legs and doubled his fists, and he grimaced and scowled and pursed his lips. Oh, am I cursed? But I will do it. So these words suggest that the man was not happy accepting what he was saying, what Patrick was saying, and still had to do. So he was unwilling. So what shows his irritation? What shows his unwillingness? So these words, the little man's face wrinkled. Wrinkled means his face have got some lines. It means he was not happy. Okay, and his face has got lines like the dishcloth that is thrown in a hamper. Dishcloth, a cloth used for washing dishes, and hamper, a basket with a lid. So his face have got wrinkled, and those wrinkles were like dishcloth. Okay, that was thrown in a hamper. He kicked his legs. That was also showing as if he did not like the idea of Patrick, and he doubled his fists, and he grimaced. Grimaced is an expression of pain or dislike. So he was giving these expressions, expression of pain. Scowl is also an expression of anger or bad temper. And pursed his lips. Pursed his lips means to contract lips into rounded shape. So all these words, pursing lips, grimacing, scowling, wrinkling of the faces, doubling his fist, all these words were suggesting that the tiny creature did not like what Patrick was asking him to do. Oh, am I cursed? And he said he was really cursed. And cursed means he was not in a good condition. He did not like the idea of Patrick. But I will do. I will do means, but he had to do that thing. He had to do that thing for Patrick. Why? Because he promised Patrick granting him a wish. That's why. And true to his words. He was true to his words. He promised, and being true to his words, he was to fulfill that promise. That little elf is a magical creature, a small imaginary creature having pointed ears. Okay, you can see in the picture that is elf. So the little elf began to do Patrick's homework because he told it. Except there was one glitch. Glitch here, it is an informal word. Here it means some problem, some fault. Some problem was there. Though he started doing Patrick's homework, but there was some problem. The elf didn't always know what to do, and he needed help because whenever he started to write work, he needed help. And what he would say, he would cry, "Help me, help me!" And who would say these words, "Help me, help me"? Yes, the elf. And Patrick would have to help in whatever way. And Patrick had to help that elf doing that work in whatever way possible, or in whatever way the elf desired. I don't know this word. The elf squeaked, shouted, cried, okay, while reading Patrick's homework. So when he wanted to do the homework of Patrick, so he would always say, "I don't know this word, get me a dictionary," because whenever he was doing the work of language English, so he would say he did not know such word, he wanted a dictionary. No, what is even better, and when Patrick is going to give him the dictionary, what that elf would say, he would say, what better was, look up the word and sound it out by each letter. And the elf suggested Patrick to read the word out to the elf. The elf did not find that word in the dictionary. Okay, he made Patrick to look for that word and to pronounce that word to him when it came to maths. So this was the work of English. And now, when it came to maths, Patrick was out of luck. Unlucky he was. Why? Because maybe he did not like doing maths work, and still he had to help that elf. "What are times tables?" The elf shrieked, shouted in a high pitch. "We elves never need that. And addition and subtraction and division and fraction. Here, sit down beside me. You simply must guide me." Okay, beside me, guide me. So these words are rhyming, and this shows the skill of the author here. Okay, so what that elf would say, the elf would say that the elf had nothing to do with the times table. The elves plural form of elf, so we elves never need that. And he also did not know addition, subtraction, division, fraction, and he wanted the guidance of Patrick. He would say Patrick to sit beside me. Beside means by the side of, near him. Elves know nothing of human history. It was the maths work, and when it was history turn, to them it is a mystery. So for elves, history is a mystery. Again, rhyme is there. History, mystery. So it is really a very mysterious thing, history. So the little elf already a shouter, or he shouted for help, just got louder, and his shouts got louder and louder. "Go to the library," and then he would say to Patrick to go to the library because he needed some books, more and more books he needed, and you can help me read them too. And he also, the elf, made Patrick read those history books to him. So many history books he had to read it to that elf. As a matter of fact, every day, in every way, that little elf was a nag. Nag, uh, someone who complains always. So here, one who troubles someone all the time by complaining or asking them to do something. So he was a nag. Nag, why was he nag? Because always, whenever he started doing work, he would ask for the help of Patrick, and Patrick had to help him. Patrick was working harder, and Patrick had to do hard work than ever. He did not do such hard work before. And was it a drag? And was it a drag? Drag, it is informal expression. Here it means something dull and uninteresting. And it was a drag because Patrick did not like doing homework, and now he had to help that elf doing that work. He was staying up. Staying up means he was unable to sleep at nights. So remained awake. Staying up. He remained awake at nights, had never felt so weary. Why? Weary means tired. He had never felt so tired. Why? Because now he had to do labor. to do his homework, was going to school with his eyes puffed, swollen. Swelling was there in his eyes and blurry. Blurry means watery and red. Why his eyes were puffed and blurry? His eyes were puffed and blurry because he could not sleep at night. He stayed up at nights. Okay, that's why his and he was really tired, and his eyes were also, whenever he would go to school, his eyes were red and it was full of water because he was feeling sleepy every time in the morning. Anyhow, this has been done. Finally, the last day of school arrived. Now it was the last day of school, and the elf was free to go because he promised. Last day of school, school means 35th day. It was the completion of 35th day. So now he was free to go. As for homework, because he promised doing homework, so as for homework, there was no more. Now no more homework was there. So he quietly, silently, and slyly, secretively, okay, slyly, secretively slipped out, sneaked away, went away, went away without being seen the back door. Okay, because the elf promised for doing the work, and now he had done all the work. The last day of school was there, and he just went away from there, and he just fulfilled his promise. Patrick got his A's. Okay, and when the result came, it was really surprising that he got A's. His classmates were amazed, surprised, amazed. His teachers smiled and were full of praise. Everyone was praising him. Even his teachers praised him. And his parents, they also were full of praise. They wondered, they were amazed, they were surprised. His parents were also surprised what had happened to Patrick, because no one knew what had happened to him, what changed that boy, the boy who did not do his homework, and now he had got A's. He was now the model kid. He was now the model kid. It means he was the kid other people giving the example of. Cleaned his room. His habits also changed. He cleaned his own room. He did his chores, household duties. Chores, work that must be done every day, often boring work, that is called chores. So he had to do all his chores, was cheerful. He always remained happy. Never rude. He was never uncivilized. He was never impolite. Rude means impolite, uncivilized. Like, he had developed a whole new attitude. It seems as if he had got a new attitude of feeling about someone or something. So his thinking had been changed, it seemed. You see, in the end, Patrick still thought he had made the tiny man do all his work. And now these comments are of the author. Uh, the author talks to us, talks to the reader. You see, it means the reader can see, can understand. In the end, still Patrick thought that he had made means that tiny man do all his homework. So Patrick still thought that he got A's because of that elf, because of the homework that was done by that elf. And he thought that he forced that elf doing that work. But I'll share a secret. But Carol Moore, the author, the writer, she wanted to share a secret between us or among us, and what the secret was just between you and me. It wasn't the elf. Patrick had done it himself. Okay, and it is quite known to us also that the work was done by Patrick himself. And how it happened that the work was done by Patrick himself? How can we say that the work was done by Patrick? The work was really done by Patrick because every time the elf needed or the elf started doing work, Patrick was made to do that work. And Patrick had to recite all those words. He had to read the history books. He had to solve all the sums of maths The Patrick or the boy Patrick, he himself worked hard, and the result of that hard work was his marks. What we have seen in this chapter, we have seen a magic realism is here, because at the end, when the writer says that Patrick himself had done that work, it means the Patrick or the boy Patrick, okay, he had not created a magic here. There was no magic. It was only make believe. Make believe. It was we can say that Patrick's own inspiration personified. Patrick himself wanted to do something. Patrick himself wanted to change himself, his attitude. But how would he do it? That's how the Patrick created that thing in his mind, and by creating that thing in his mind, he had achieved this thing. He had done all the work by himself. So this is called magic realism. And now we will talk about one more thing. Before concluding the chapter, we'll know about the values that rest there in this chapter. So, what this chapter is talking about, and what does the author teach us? The author teaches us that self help is the best help. The second thing, hard work is the key to success. Third thing, the path of success is not easy. And all these things are told to us through this chapter. Because Patrick helped himself. Though unknowingly he helped himself, still he helped himself and he achieved success. Second thing, hard work is the key to success. Because Patrick did hard work, he would remained awake throughout the night. He did not sleep at nights. He was tired, and he had read so many books. So this was the hard work that was done by Patrick, and that hard work had got fruits at the end. And the path of success is not easy, because though he did not want to get success, still he wanted to get his work done, and he had done that. So that path, in order to get his work done, it was not easy for him, because he himself had to suffer a lot because of achieving his goal, and that was just the homework to be done. At the end, the homework was done, and it was because of the hard work, because of the hard labor of Patrick, that just made him a model kid. So at the end, I hope you have understood the chapter well. The word meanings also are learned by you, and I hope that you will be able to do all these questions internal, as well as the questions at the end of the chapter. So, uh, goodbye until the next video. Thank you.